In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. All praise is due to Allah, and we send our salam, and we ask Allah for the blessing and salutation and peace for the Prophet Muhammad and all the prophets who passed before him. We will go back to the Quran study class. We had completed verses up to verse number 46 in chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow. And the following verse is verse number 47. يا بني أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا هم ينصرون. These verses, the translation is as follows. O children of Israel, remember all the favors I granted you and how I honored you above others. The following verse. Guard yourself against the day on which no soul will be of help to another. No intercession will be accepted, no ransom taken, and no help will be given. Of course, this verse is quite similar in wording to the verse prior to it, verse 40. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوفي بعهدكم وإياي فارهبون. O children of Israel, remember my favor upon you, fulfill your covenant, I will fulfill mine, and stand in awe of me alone. But here this verse adds, after giving them certain teachings and commandments, this verse adds an emphasis, and it also combines it with a threat in which Allah says after it, he says, guard yourselves against the day on which no soul will be of help to another, no intercession will be accepted, no ransom taken, and no help will be given. So this advice here is linked to a warning about the day about the coming of the day of judgment, so that they can take the previous teachings more seriously. And also here he also added that وَأَنِّي فَضَّلْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ, and I have favored you over other people, other nations, because one of the main favors that they were given was the fact that many prophets were sent to them and teachings and revelations were given to them. وإذ قال موسى لقومه يا قوم اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ جعل فيكم أنبياء وجعلكم ملوكا وآتاكم ما لم يؤت أحدا من العالمين. Just like Moses reminded them in chapter of Al-Ma'idah, the banquet, in which he said to them, remember the favors of your Lord upon you, that he sent prophets amongst you, وَجَعَلَكُمْ مُلُوكًا, he made you established on earth, so that you are granted so much wealth and ease in life that you live like kings. وَجَعَلَكُمْ مُلُوكًا وَآتَاكُمْ مَا لَمْ يُؤْتِ أَحَدًا مِنْ الْعَالَمِينَ, and he has given you what he has not given other nations. Since they were honored with these favors, that requires an added responsibility. And he also calls them with the name of their righteous grandfather, Prophet Yaqub. So he reminds them always, O children of Israel. This is when he calls them by that name, he is calling them to emulate the righteousness of their pious grandfather Yaqub, and not to deviate away from the path. Just like Allah called the people also of Israel and humanity in general in the beginning of Surah Al-Isra, ذُرِّيَّةَ مَنْ حَمَلْنَا مَعَ نُوحٍ إِنَّهُ كَانَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Allah is calling upon humanity that is living today. He says, O sons of those whom we rescued along with the Prophet Noah, I mean in the ship. And then he says, إِنَّهُ كَانَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. He was a grateful servant of Allah. So this again is to call upon people to take him as an example and to follow his footsteps. So to call them Ya Bani Israel, Ya Bani Israel is a recurrent reminder of the righteousness and piety of their ancestors, so that they go back to this piety. Then Allah after this starts in many verses to come reminding them in more detail about the favors He has given to them. And here comes the following verse. وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. This is verse number 49. This is the first of the detailed favors that are going to be enlisted one after the other, and we can follow them. Let us read the first favor. Remember how we delivered you from the people of the Pharaoh, who inflicted you with dreadful torment, slaughtering your sons and keeping your women alive. That was a severe test from your Lord, severe test. And of course, the tests from Allah could be manageable, or could be minor tests, or could be major tests. This is a severe and a major test that people losing their children, and also their women were kept alive. And you can understand, and this is for obvious purposes, not only so that they serve them, but also obviously because He says يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. When He came to the sons, He says they kill your children. But when He came to the daughters, He didn't say they let your daughters live. No, He says they let your women live, indicating that their eyes are on these daughters when they grow up to be women. وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. Their purpose, they have an evil purpose of abusing those women sexually when they get to that age. وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. Indeed, it is a severe test. It is the test here. ذَلِكُمْ, the word ذَلِكُمْ refers to the dreadful situation they were in. It is a test from your Lord, and also the favor of rescuing you from this to safety is another test. Are you going to be grateful for that rescue and delivering or not? So ذَلِكُمْ refers to both situations. And Allah says in the Quran, وَبَلَوْنَاهُمْ بِالْحَسَنَاتِ وَالسَّيِّئَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. We tested them, بَلَوْنَاهُم, same root, بِالْحَسَنَاتِ, with good things, وَالسَّيِّئَاتِ, and bad things that happen. The good things are a test, and the bad things, the things that we like and the things that we dislike, both of them are tests for us. وَبَلَوْنَاهُمْ بِالْحَسَنَاتِ وَالسَّيِّئَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, so as they may go back to Allah. The following favor mentioned here, and this following favor is more detail of the first favor. So first of all, so the following verse number 50 says, وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. And remember when we parted the sea, rescued you, and drowned Pharaoh's people before your very eyes. So here it's a detail of how He rescued them. But in mentioning that detail, it shows more favors. Why is that? It is because Allah showed them that He did not just rescue them with natural means, but with a supernatural and miraculous event that doesn't happen to anybody at any time. These things are things that are remembered for the history of mankind. And that is why all nations who have scriptures from Allah have kept this story. You find the Christians believe in it, the Jews believe in it, the Muslims believe in it. So the vast majority of humanity believes in the event of the rescuing of Moses. This was a huge event in the history of mankind that doesn't happen regularly. It's not a frequent occurrence. So the fact that Allah to part and split the sea for them is a miracle. So that is something that adds more reason for showing gratitude. I didn't just rescue you by normal means. There was no way out for you at all. No way out, because when they got to the sea, and the Pharaoh's army is much outnumbers them in number, strength, and also equipment and weaponry, and they would be slaughtered all. And in front of them is the sea. Either they drown or they get slaughtered by the Pharaoh's army. So there was no way out at all. There was no chance for them. So the fact that Allah rescued them with a miraculous event is something, it's an additional favor. وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فأنجيناكم وأغرقنا آل فرعون. Also here he added, because he could have just rescued them, but there's another favor here, is that he showed them their revenge from the people who inflicted all this pain and torment on them for all these years and all these generations, that they now see all these, I don't know what number it was, but it must have been a big number, where the Pharaoh and all his army suddenly vanish from the face of the earth and die a very painful death with drowning. So that as well, for those people who have been wronged for so many years, give them some kind of satisfaction that they see some justice. Of course, this is just the beginning, because the real justice is in the next life. Just like Allah said, فَوَقَاهُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِ مَا مَكَرُوا وَحَاقَ بِآلِ فِرْعَوْنَ سُوءُ الْعَذَابِ. The real punishment, the سُوءُ الْعَذَابِ, the painful punishment, is still to come after their death. That the drowning was just the beginning. It was the introduction, or the gate that leads them to their real punishment. وَحَاقَ بِآلِ فِرْعَوْنَ سُوءُ الْعَذَابِ. What is that? And that is actually in this life, before the day of judgment. النَّارُ يُعْرَضُونَ عَلَيْهَا غُدُوًّا وَعَشِيًّا. They are exposed to the fire of hell. They're being burnt and tortured with fire, غُدُوًّا وَعَشِيًّا, in the morning and in the late afternoon. Al-Ashi is the late afternoon. وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. This is just while people are still living on this earth, they are being exposed to this. وَلَنُذِيقَنَّهُمْ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَدْنَى دُونَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَكْبَرِ. This is the minor punishment before the major punishment to come. But when the day of judgment starts, now they can start the full-fledged punishment. أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. The most severe and extreme of pain and torment and punishment is still to come. So to show them that the Pharaoh